Hello, I'm George Sinnott, and we have a couple of special guests today. We have Chris Barnett here today and Lieutenant Toth, and we are going to be talking about some of the questions that are on the ballots that are going to be voted on in August. So we've got a couple of questions really regarding this. When I first got this absentee ballot, I looked at it and I determined that there was no verbiage in here regarding what it says about any kind of renewal. So my immediate thought was that these are additional taxes. So I guess I'd like to get a response from you on that.
So the simple answer is, thank you for having us here. The simple answer is they are not new taxes. It is a strict, exact renewal of what you're paying today. So you are paying 2.9885 mils for police service. We are asking for 2.9885 mils for police service. Our residents are paying 1.984 mils for fire service, and we were asking for 1.984 mils for fire service. The reason the verbiage is maybe confusing is we have to follow the law, and they technically are new millages because we are replacing existing millages.
Okay.
So that's the question that we've gotten from a lot of residents, and we want to make sure that the information out there is clear, that we're only asking for what we're currently collecting to operate our police and fire services.
Well, that's great news because, you know, when you first pick this up and you go to you go to fill it out and you say, wow, I wonder if this is additional. And so I started calculating how much it was going to cost me a year for these additional taxes, and it came up to $810. So I got a little concerned and I said, you know, we got to clarify this thing. So I'm wondering, you know, how many other people are facing the same issue?
Yeah, I mean, even just today, I've taken a couple phone calls because people have received their absentee ballots and with the exact same question, why are we asking for these new taxes? And again, in 2000, over the last 4 years, we've had an increase in the police millage and an increase in the fire millage, and the voters have approved those increases.
Right.
The police millage was precipitated by the loss of revenue when the economy dropped,
right.
And crime didn't go down during that time. We are blessed to live in one of the safest communities in the state of Michigan, but crime did not go down, but we were forced to reduce our police force. So we went to the residents and asked for an additional millage to get our level of staffing back up to or close to what it was before the recession.
Right.
So we're asking for, again, just for that renewal, and I'll let Lieutenant Toth speak to the staffing levels a little bit. And the same thing with fire. 2 years ago, we asked our residents if they wanted our fire department to be 24/7, 365 right. at all 4 of our fire stations, and they resoundingly said yes. We purposely timed that millage to only be a 2-year millage, knowing that the existing original millage was up for consideration in 16.
Okay.
So that ultimately this will save the taxpayers money because we're not having to have every 2 years a millage for police and fire.
Okay.
So after hopefully these millages get approved in August, there will only be 1 police millage and 1 fire millage every 4 years. If you look at your tax bill from last year, you'll see there are 2 police millages and
right.
2 fire millages. Those will be replaced by 1 police millage and 1 fire millage.
So the other millages basically go away. That's what you're saying. They come to an end, and then the new millage takes over.
They are expiring. There is
okay.
no overlap. There's no
okay.
case where people are paying extra.
Okay.
And I will state this, our police and fire services are fully funded from these millages. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that they pass because that's where 100% of the revenue to operate our contract with our sheriff's office and 100% of the revenue to operate our fire department come from these millages. So it is really extremely important that we get the word out.
So these really have to pass.
They need to pass.
What happens if they don't, by the way?
Well, you'll see. I'll just be frank. If they don't pass, we'll have an opportunity to have them on the ballot again in November.
Right.
And we would do just that. We would go back to the electorate in November and ask them to reconsider.
Okay.
And hopefully we will be able to answer questions between now and then and explain that we're not asking for 1 penny more from what people are currently paying.
Okay. Now the police department's happy with the situation in terms of how much money Lake Orion is providing, or Orion Township is providing for your services, I assume.
Yes, we're, like Supervisor Barnett pointed out, it's completely transparent and a dedicated police fund. And basically, we actually discussed this about a year ago, how to actually clean it up instead of having two separate millages. So it'll be, as it goes forward, it'll be one millage for police, one millage for fire, and it will roll every 4 years. So we've actually cleaned it up to try to make it less confusing in the future.
Right.
But to answer your question, yes, we have one of the most efficient or cost-effective police funds in Oakland County, and with the tax revenue increasing, there's new homes and businesses going into Orion Township. We're filling those positions that we had to vacate, over the last 5 years. So we're just about caught up, and things look good. But this millage, obviously, this basic police millage, obviously, is very important. But the message is, it's no new taxes for neither police or fire, and in fact, it's just a couple dollars less than what the residents paid 2 years ago for their police services, .29885, and it's a very cost-effective police services fund or millage.
Yeah, I got to say, you guys are doing a great job. I personally had an experience. We had a car broken into, and we actually found the merchandise in Jackson, Michigan, believe it or not. So these guys are terrific.
We have a great relationship. Some people don't know, we have the oldest contract. Orion Township has the oldest contract with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and we're still a customer, if you will. One of the other things, calls for service, and both police and fire are up. They continue to rise.
Right.
The good news that we shared at the State of the Township is the crimes against people are extremely low. You can actually count them on one hand over the course of the last year, and that's the good thing. But people call 911 for a lot of different reasons. They need help. We have a lot of traffic incidents, and so the police are constantly responding to that. And then just one more thing I'd add to what Lieutenant Toth said, just about the transparency and how cost-effective both our police and fire departments are. One of the metrics that a lot of people use nationwide is the cost per resident for police service.
Right.
We have around 37,000 residents, roughly. Our cost per resident is under $120 per year. Compared to there's 63 municipalities that make up the county, we are in the lowest 5.
That's great.
We have a extremely cost-effective department, and I think and that's thanks a lot to Lieutenant Toth's leadership and the long-time relationship we have with the Sheriff's Office.
Okay. Well, I think you've answered the questions. When you come back and say no new taxes, that basically says to me that you guys are doing a good job, and everybody should vote yes.
I agree.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to keep it fairly short, and hopefully we can get this out before Election Day so everybody can understand exactly what we got here. So we do have really, we've really got some renewals built into these.
Correct. And what you will see in 2020, in 4 years when these expire, they will actually state renewal at that time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great, short and sweet. So
thanks for having us.
Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
That's right.
Thank you,
George.